There is a part of me that says we are on the cusp of something. This is a freaking tipping point, and it is going to go one way or the other. And I am saying to everybody sitting in this room, it is part of your responsibility which way this tip occurs. Because for many of us, while we are all Americans and we share that together, for many of us, there are some of us who will walk out of this room tonight and you can forget about everything that I've said, and it won't make a difference in your life for a while. But I promise you, the walls that we build between each other, based on race, based on wealth, they're not high enough to keep the tide back. I'm not talking about violent revolution or anything like that, although that certainly is a possibility, a remote one, I think. What I'm talking about is an America where you don't have 2.3 million people in prison, you got 4.5 million people in prison. And you don't have 80% of Americans owning 7% of the wealth. You have 90% of Americans owning about 2% of the wealth. Nobody is going to want to live in that America. Taking down these monuments will not cure the problem, but it is at least an indication that we are ready to deal with the truth. And so, this is where I'm going to end. In 2008, I was practicing here at Schrader Goldmark, and I got a call from a friend of mine, Joshua Dratel. He's a guy I went to law school with, a brilliant lawyer. He works in New York. I met him in 1978 when I started in law school, and he had 800 albums, alphabetized by category of music. I loved this guy. And he called me in 2008, and I hadn't heard from him in a while. And he says, "Yo, Jeff, how you doing?" I'm like, "Josh, it's great to hear from you." "Jeff, will you do me a favor?" "Sure, I will." Maybe everybody in the audience is old enough to know, when your friend calls you and says, "Will you do me a favor?" you ask what it is before you say yes. Because he said, "I just go down to Guantanamo Bay and represent Ammar al-Baluchi." "Do you know who he is?" "No, Josh, I don't know." "Well, he's the nephew of Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, and he's one of 5 people charged with planning and carrying out the 9/11 attacks, and the government's looking to execute him as quickly as possible." And you know that saying about how your life can flash in front of your eyes like in a second? And I think it was about 2 seconds, and in the seconds I thought, I'm going to get kicked out of my law firm. Every person in Seattle is going to hate me. I will never have another case in Seattle again. I hate to fly, and I'm going to have to get on an airplane to go to Cuba. This guy is not going to like me or even want to talk to me. In 2 seconds, all that stuff was going through my head, and then I heard this voice saying, "Of course I will." And it was mine. One of the things I can say is, my law firm not only didn't kick me out, their response was, "What do you need? What kind of help can we give you? How can we support you?" So before I went to Guantanamo Bay, I went to Washington, D.C., and all of the lawyers in the John Adams Project were there, and we had a day-long meeting with psychiatrists and psychologists who were talking to us about trying to deal with people who had been systematically tortured. And they were telling us, you may have capital experience representing a defendant in a capital case. You may have experience representing people that have been sexually abused as children. You have never talked to a person who has been subjected to a systematic form of torture. They are damaged beyond your belief, and if you think you're going to come back the same as you were before you went down there, just throw that out the window. So it's about 4 o'clock, and to be honest with you, my thought is, where is the nearest bar? Because about 4 scotches will make me feel a lot better than I feel right now. And a woman from Indiana got up, and she said, "I know you feel hopeless right now, and I'm going to show you an example of the most human behavior that I have ever seen." And she showed us this video, and I want to share it with you as we end. This is a video of an actual camera safari in South Africa.
They're crouching.
She's crouching.
And what the lawyer was telling us while the video played is that when you're dealing with something powerful like the government or like white supremacy, often the victims are the smallest and the weakest.
She got him. Oh, she did. She got him.
And that is hopeless.
Drag him out. They're dragging
Like
him
we
out.
feel that the quagmire of race in America is hopeless.
There's a crocodile there too.
And just when you think it can't get any worse,
The crocodile.
it does. Charleston, South Carolina, and then Charlottesville, Virginia. Where does it stop?
Look at this. The crocodile's taking that baby away.
That is the definition
There are two crocodiles.
of hopeless.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
they're going to fight over it.
She's on shit.
Oh my God. Oh, he's coming for huge crocodile.
Oh, look at the
The lions have won.
The lions have won.
The Lions have won. Have they? Because Mom and Dad Water Buffalo
Chase the lion, but I think they're too.
went and got the whole herd.
Wait till I know.
The man who has what sounds like either a British or South African accent is actually a guide, and he said that he had never seen behavior like this before. And I feel like we, as a community, as a progressive community, as a forward-thinking community, have a lot more influence than we recognize. But sometimes we just mill around because we don't know what to do. And sometimes it will take one person, just one person, to step out and do something.
Whoa.
And my suggestion is that when you do that,
Kicking at him, look.
it actually feels good. Watch him going back. Is there some strut in his step there? He's like, get the F out of here and don't even come back. And even when that person will step out of our group and demonstrate that there are things that can be done, sometimes the group is still not ready. And it takes one other person to do something
Ooh, they got him
maybe a little more dramatic.
Jy kan maar kom, Jan. Hier's
And that one's
Big boy.
And now everybody is involved. And they're like, no, don't just go away. Keep going away. And remember, it was hopeless. There was no rational way to think that this was going to succeed.
Camp's still alive. Yeah, it's trying to get away. It's standing up.
It is. It's still alive. It's standing up. It's standing up.
It got away. They got it back.
They've got him back.
They do have him back.
hierdie buffels het die leeu's weggevat van hy kleintjie af.
The lawyer in Indiana, or from Indiana, who showed us this, at the end of this film, said, "This is the most human behavior I've ever seen because it was hopeless, and they tried anyway." So, Color of Change has started a campaign to take down state-sponsored monuments to the Confederacy and to white supremacy. I urge you to go to their website, look at what they're doing, and join them in this fight. The ACLU's People Power will also be looking to organize our members and our staff so that we can move toward making America deal with a naked lunch moment about race in this country. Because by dealing with that, by taking control of the true past, we actually have a chance for a radically different future. Thank you, guys. Thank you very, very much. This is greatly appreciated. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Let me say this as I sit here and ponder and listen to what I just got through hearing and watching here on YouTube with Jeffery Robinson, a legal person with the ACLU. When we see ACLU, white folks go crazy about what the ACLU represent. It represents a voice that white supremacy, white America don't want to hear. You so-called Christians don't want to hear, and you lump it into Black Lives Matter category and all the other categories that you want to. But America, our sin of racism and what you're doing to black folks is going to explode. That is going to make the massacre in Oklahoma and other places that taking places where it's going to be like a picnic. You white folks have been hoarding and buying your guns and your weapons and stockpiling and training for years. Guess what? It's coming your way. It's coming your way. And guess who is not going to win? I don't know what else to say to America. It's sick what we're doing. You perpetuating a lie, talking about these statues and buying into what President Donald Trump is saying. President Donald Trump is appealing to white supremacists. To my friends down there in Atmo that work with me at the prison, you know who you are. I don't know if you even hear this. You better wake up. When we were working in the prison, I worked right alongside you, and there was a term that I used, and I spoke to it to one of the wardens in the last week or two. It's about them that know. When I say know, I'm talking about those that know God. God is a just God. There is nothing hidden that's not going to come to the light. That's what I do. There's things in my past that I've been doing. It's going to come to the light. And I just hope that I can stand when the brighter light, day of light come on them. But I hope you do the same thing. When the truth comes to face you, I hope you have the power that God is in you, that you stand. Believe me, it's coming. And you better get ready. And you better be on the right side. Or you're going to go down to hell just like Satan and all the demons of evil that is in this world. Racism, the heart of division of this country. And you got a president, Donald Trump, trumping it loud and clear. And in November the 3rd, a referendum on the total division of America is going to come to pass. You can elect Donald Trump if you want to. You can elect Joe Biden if you want to. The choice is yours. And you hiding behind me talking about the Republicans and it's fighting for abortion and all that stuff. There are Republican gays and lesbians and homosexuals. There's Republican there are Republican wife beaters and haters and abusers Independence, Green Party.